So I did decide to redo the stock in the end. Bleaching didn't really do a huge amount, but just took out the old varnish stain. So what I've decided to use was the Tru Oil walnut stain, and I literally waterboarded this thing. Just pouring it on, just rubbing it in with my hands and just letting it soak in. Tried to put quite a bit over this area where I'd been heavily sanding to try and get rid of the marks. But yeah, so it's still wet in places, obviously where it's soaking it up. But all in all, obviously it's still wet. It's pretty good. So once this fully dries, I have rubbed it down with a cloth just to even out any streaks, and it is literally just where it's soaking it up now. So once it's fully dry, I shall, it stops raining outside, I shall see about adding a second coat and then going over, once that's nearly dry, with some steel wool. Much better. So, 2 coats of the Tru Oil walnut stain. I don't think it's come out too bad. Very dark compared to the other one. I think the first dye I was putting it off and wiping it off, I was putting it on quite thinly, as opposed to this one, so where I literally just poured it on and just rubbed it with my hands, and when it dried just gently flattened it off, as it were. So yeah, lovely. Right, so I'd like to hang it in the shed because it's oil time, baby, and obviously this smells. So I haven't really got anywhere that I can put it, and with the weather the way it is at the minute, so it's going to have to stay in here with the bikes. So let's see about trying to get a coat on this. So I've done the top half, or forend, and obviously now it's hanging up, I can do the stock, or the cheek piece, sorry. So yeah, looks pretty good in the light. It's a bit dark in here, but it looks pretty good in the light. Okay, so 1 coat of the Danish oil. Leave that to soak in and dry for a couple of hours, and hopefully I'll be able to get a second coat on and leave it overnight. Because we didn't have the bike in here. So I said 2 coats of Tru Oil. I'm going to do, try and flatten it back and start adding some more. So what I'm going to do, with a little bit of Tru Oil and some 1200, what I'm going to do is gently see if I can flatten off the surface, make it a little bit smoother for the subsequent coats. So once it's done, let it go tacky or dry, I suppose, and then rub against the grain to try and push all this slurry into the low points before freezing it. Something like that anyway. So I wasn't really getting anywhere, or anywhere that I was happy with regarding the wet and dry and the Tru Oil. I ended up with quite a few streaks, fingerprints and God knows what else. So I let it all dry, and then all I've done is literally get some the same 1200 but used it as wet and dry with water, so that's why it's wet at the minute, just to flat off all the areas and it's all nice and smooth. And then what I'll do, I'll go over with some thin coats of Tru Oil over that, now that all the it's all nice and smooth and whatnot. But yeah, it's very dark. Is this really a walnut stain? Don't know. After several coats of Tru Oil, flattening back, and then I've started to add a little bit of white spirits to it to just thin it down a little bit. Now the last coat that I put on, you can see there, it's got a load of dust in it. So what I want to do, although it didn't work out as I thought, with the thinner stuff, I'm hoping that it allows a little bit more lubrication and provides a bit of a better finish. But other than that, I'm quite impressed with the sheen and the cover thus far. You can just see the dust in there. So what I think I'll do, I'll try and make this the final coat. Shame really. I'll try and make this the final coat of the Tru Oil, and then what I'll do is I'll just leave it to cure for a week or so, and then I'll come in with like a buffing compound or something, some form of polish to take off any tiny little marks. I think there's a tiny little run somewhere, I can't remember whereabouts it is. But yeah, impressed with how it's turned out really. Yeah, let's see if we can get a bit of the old white spirit Tru Oil 1200 tank wet dry. Just see if we can flood it off a little bit, get rid of some of these defects, and then call it a day for a week before polishing. Alright, so I'll leave it in here for the next week to cure, and then I will give it a little polish.